Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups. Let's talk Night Thrasher. That's right, everybody. Thank you for checking out yet another video in the Let's Talk Night Thrasher series, my video series that goes right along with my Twitter page, Let's Talk Night Thrasher. You can follow that page at Let's Thrasher over at Twitter. Night Thrasher, you know we love him. You know we're talking about him. Today we're going to be talking about New Warriors number 3, The Mad Thinker against the New Warriors. Really fun issue. I really do like it. I love it when a Fantastic Four villain is spotlighted fantastically like it is in this issue. Fabian Nicieza, Mark Bagley and company did a great job with this issue, really spotlighting the personal lives of the New Warriors. So we find out in this issue that it's been about 3 weeks since the New Warriors have actually been together as a team. So they may have formed, but they haven't quite bonded yet. So it gives us a good way to just slow down a little bit and look at the personal lives of each member of the New Warriors. The way that it's set up is because Gene Tech, this crazy, corrupt corporate entity that's trying to figure out how they can use the New Warriors' powers for their own purposes, for their own means, for their own products and stuff like that, right? So a very nefarious company for sure. They hire the Mad Thinker to go out there, find out who the New Warriors are and how to take them out and how to use the New Warriors for themselves. So what happens is, in the beginning of the issue, they're sitting there, they're watching footage of the New Warriors against Juggernaut. They're watching footage of them against Terrax, trying to figure some stuff out. The Mad Thinker is there. He's there with Primus. Primus is this crazy shape-shifting robot that was created in Captain America 209 during the 3rd run of Jack Kirby on Captain America, the very crazy Kirby just nutso science fiction run on the character. So it's really cool to see both of them together at the time. Mad Thinker and Primus were kind of like a team. They were a duo. So that's really, really neat. So the Thinker decides that him and Primus, they're going to go and observe each of the New Warriors on their own. First up is Namorita. Namorita is going to ESU, Empire State University. So he runs into her. They do something to the water. She dives into the water while she's trying to relax in between a study break. And she hits the water and she goes through intense pain. Mad Thinker shows up, gives her this really weird, vague clue saying, meet me here Friday night, 10 p.m. I'll let you know a little bit more. This whole framing and structure keeps going throughout the whole rest of the issue. We switch in to Speedball next, right? So after he talks to Namorita, he goes and confronts Speedball. And what's really cool about this issue is that Fabian finds a way to give us these personal details on each member of the New Warriors. So we see a little bit of Robbie's home life in here, and we know that it's not quite the best home life that maybe that he wishes he has. Then after that, we switch over. He, once again, Mad Thinker shows up, tests him just a little bit, gives him this really weird, vague clue to meet up Friday night at 10 p.m. He gives all the New Warriors this clue. Then we switch over to Night Thrasher. He's trying to talk to Silhouette, trying to, I don't know, trying to make a reconnection. He feels really bad about what happened in the last issue with Midnight's Fire. Silhouette, he feels personally responsible. I think it's one of the reasons why the New Warriors hadn't been together at this point for 3 weeks since their last team up. I think that Dwayne is doubting himself. I think he's a little unsure of what's going on. So this dude shows up pretending to be a gang member, but it's actually Primus. He kicks Night Thrasher's ass. Thinker initially thinks that Night Thrasher doesn't have any powers, and he is confirmed in on that. But he does mention how brave he is, because even without powers, Dwayne's jumped after Juggernaut. He's jumped after Terrax. He's not afraid at all. And that's what's so cool about Night Thrasher. So it turns out that it's actually Primus is the guy. He kicks Thrasher's ass, and then he gives him this really vague clue to meet up Friday at 10 p.m. Really cool, fun issue. Really great moment right here, especially for Dwayne. Seeing him try to reach out to Silhouette. It's a really great scene. I really do like it. Then we switch over to Rich Rider. Richard is over in the gym. Well, before that, he's at home, actually, yeah. So Richard Rider's at home. We see a little bit of his home life. We know that his dad doesn't really approve of him being a superhero. He knows he's a superhero. Richard has dropped out of school. When he came back to space, he didn't finish because he didn't want to, all of his friends had graduated, didn't want to feel left behind. Now he's quitting the gym because of his powers. He doesn't need it. Now, Rider's a little bit of a meathead in these early issues of New Warriors. It's definitely something that kind of irons itself out in future issues, and he becomes much more of a responsible character, especially once these characters start bonding together. Then we switch over to Firestar. We don't really know too much about her. We see her cooking dinner for her father, or cooking breakfast. She's using her microwave powers. She's trying to go to school. She just kind of wants to be a normal young lady, and that is something that she's thinking about, something she's talking about. And I really like that bit. And once again, Thinker shows up, gives her a vague clue, saying, hey, meet me here at this time. And what's really cool is that Primus is a shapeshifter, and in this scene in particular, he starts mimicking the Thinker. I really like that. I think it's a fun little bit. Then we see Vance Astro's home life, Marvel Boy, and I really like the commentary that Thinker says, who calls themselves Marvel Boy? What an adolescent thing to do. Pretty soon he's going to change his name to Justice, and I think that's a lot better. He has probably got the roughest home life out of everybody spotlighted in this issue. His dad is kind of abusive. His mother's kind of behind the scenes, not really, you know, standing up for him and things like that. They find out because his dad reads his diary and he finds out that he's been a superhero and he's been working with the New Warriors. He flips out, almost hits Vance, but then Vance uses his telekinetic ability to get his dad away from me. He's basically like, you're never going to hit me again. Never, ever, ever again. You promise you wouldn't? I'll make sure you don't. Then he gets a message on his computer. Hey, really weird, vague clue. Meet up at this time on Friday night. So it seems like everybody's getting this clue. And what's really neat is that the Thinker figures out who Marvel Boy is because he realizes the connection between the Vance Astro and the Guardians of the Galaxy and this young Marvel Boy. So super, super cool. And of course, they all show up at the place where they first formed and defeated Terrax. That's where all the clues, all the riddles were leading them to, and the Thinker actually applauds them for all getting it. So that's where they start showing up right there. Look at what Nova is wearing. He's basically wearing like a gym outfit mixed kind of with his Nova costume. It's really interesting. Everybody shows up. The Thinker is there. Primus is there. And they start immediately, they just jump in, they're going to kick his ass, and then Primus changes into this big, giant, like crazy alien monster looking thing, and they're all like, what? And so basically what happens is that the Thinker tells them, you guys are awesome. You guys have all these abilities. Night Thrasher doesn't have abilities, but he's got bravery. And what happens is that the Thinker decides not to give the information over to Gene Tech, because he doesn't quite know what he wants to do with it yet. But he basically tells the New Warriors how important they're going to be and that they need to reflect on how important they're going to be for the upcoming decade, the 90s, because the heroes for the 90s are the New Warriors. This book is so steeped in its time. It's so relevant for its time. It was exceptional. Reading these books as like an 11, 12-year-old. I loved it. Loved it so much. Thought this stuff was great. So they have this confrontation with the Mad Thinker. Man, is it Night Thrasher that knocks his head off? Yeah, it's totally Night Thrasher right there. He just jumps the gun, gets pissed, and decks the Mad Thinker, and his head flies off. What? So Primus freaks out, starts coming after him. They have to have a little bit of a battle there at first. Then it turns out, nah, the Mad Thinker, it's just an android, and the head's talking to him, and he's like, I'm actually incarcerated, but I project my consciousness into this robot body. That's a real thing. Fabian Nicieza and the editors, they know Marvel history, and it's really cool to see those little tidbits kind of come over from books like Fantastic Four, Captain America, and stuff like that. I really, really like it. But he basically tells them, you know, you don't have any proof. What are you going to try to do? You know, what are you going to, because they're like, we're going to arrest you. And they're like, what are you going to do? I'm already in jail. What are you going to do? Arrest a robot head? That's kind of silly. Kind of silly, right? But I love this line where he says, don't look so discouraged. All of you have much to think about yourselves and the way of the world in the coming decade. So this kind of helps cement the idea to the New Warriors that they do need to form that bond. They do need to be a team. They do need to be superheroes that are more for the 90s, more for the youth, more for the outcasts, more for the people that typically the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and X-Men and stuff are not there for, right? Really like this issue. I really like the setup. I really love the idea that the Thinker does his thinking and then decides, I'm not really down for Gene Tech. If they're going to do something evil, kind of gives the New Warriors a little bit of a warning. But of course, Night Thrasher, old Dwayne, jumping the gun, pops off his head. Probably ruins that friendship a little bit, right? I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for checking out the video. I absolutely loved this issue. Really cool spotlight, great artwork, great, fresh, vibrant stuff for its time in 1990. This book was on fire. Super, super cool. A little bit of developments with Dwayne's character there. I just love seeing that scene where he's trying to reach out to Silhouette. He still jumps the gun. He's still a little hot-headed. that all starts ironing out just a little bit, but I'll tell you this, Dwayne never loses his edge. He is the Thrasher, and he thrashes at night. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Let me know your recollections of New Warriors number 3 in particular, or just New Warriors and Night Thrasher in general. Love talking to you guys about this character. And like I said, you can follow me on Twitter at Let's Thrasher to find all the Let's Talk Night Thrasher stuff. Great stuff. I love the Let's Talk Superheroes and whatnot community on Twitter. Fantastic stuff. This is the time of the show where I'm going to spotlight one of them. Let's Talk Punisher. Love the page. Love everything about it. Great stuff. Really cool. Really fun. Great page. Great images. Great GIFs. Great, just everything. Everything about that page is fantastic. Frank Castle is a great character already, and he truly gets the respect and celebration deserved on the Let's Talk Punisher Twitter page. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Be sure to follow us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and a whole lot more. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. And if you love Night Thrasher, keep coming back every Saturday morning where we're going to talk about Night Thrasher. So thank you guys so much for rocking with us. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups. Keep on thrashing.